The house wasn't supposed to exist. At least, that's what the county clerk told me when I asked why 1327 Briar Hollow Road didn't appear on any zoning maps. She squinted at her screen, frowned, and said, "You sure about that address?" I was sure. I had the listing pulled up on my phone. 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, absurdly cheap, motivated seller. The photos were grainy in a way that felt intentional, like someone had smeared petroleum jelly over the lens. Every image showed too much shadow, even in daylight. Corners went dark in ways corners shouldn't. Sometimes, the clerk said, lowering her voice, realtors reuse addresses to avoid paperwork. That should have been the end of it. But I was desperate. My father had died 6 months earlier, leaving me with nothing but medical debt and a half-finished apology voicemail I couldn't bring myself to delete. I needed somewhere cheap, somewhere quiet, somewhere I could disappear for a while. So when the realtor, Mary Ann, smiling too wide, offered to meet me at the property the next morning, I said yes. The drive took longer than expected. Briar Hollow Road wound through trees that leaned inward like conspirators. My GPS lost signal twice, recalculating with a lag that made my stomach tighten. When I finally saw the house, it was already dusk. It sat alone, no neighboring structures, no visible driveway lights. Just a 2-story colonial with peeling white paint and a porch that sagged like a tired mouth. Mary Ann was waiting on the steps. "You're early," she said. "I'm actually 10 minutes late," I replied. Her smile twitched. "Ah, the house does that." Part 2, First Night. The inside smelled wrong. Not rot, not mold. Just old air, sealed too long, like a book never opened. Mary Ann moved quickly, unlocking doors, flipping switches. Lights flickered but stayed on. "Previous owners?" I asked. "Several," she said. "They never stay long." I laughed, because that's what you do when someone says something like that. Mary Ann didn't laugh back. The house felt larger inside. Hallways stretched just a bit farther than they should. The staircase had 13 steps, then a landing, then another 3, an odd number, architecturally pointless. When we reached the master bedroom, Mary Ann hesitated. "This room," she said carefully, "is sensitive. Squeaky floorboards." I guessed. "No," she said. "It listens." I signed the papers that night. I don't know why. Maybe grief erodes your instincts. Maybe the house already had its hooks in me. My first night there, I slept on a mattress on the floor, surrounded by unopened boxes. The silence was heavy, like the house was holding its breath. At exactly 2:17 a.m., I woke up. Someone was whispering my name. "Daniel." Soft, patient, from inside the walls. I held my breath, listening. The whisper came again, closer. "Daniel, you're home." I didn't sleep after that. Part 3, Learning Curve. The house had rules. I discovered them slowly. The way you discover a bad relationship is abusive, by adjusting yourself instead of questioning the situation. Rule 1. Don't close all the doors at once. The first time I did, the air pressure changed. My ears popped. The lights dimmed. And from the hallway came the sound of something moving, dragging itself, slow and wet, from door to door. I opened one. The sound stopped. Rule 2. Never look into the bathroom mirror after midnight. I broke that one accidentally. My reflection lagged. Just a fraction of a second. Enough to notice. Enough to see my reflection smiling when I wasn't. Rule 3. Answer when the house speaks to you. It didn't always use words. Sometimes it knocked, 3 slow raps from inside the walls. Sometimes it hummed, low and tuneless, vibrating through the floorboards. Ignoring it made things worse. Pipes burst. Lights shattered. Once, every cabinet in the kitchen slammed open at the same time. So I answered, yes, I'd say, or, I'm here. The house liked that. It started using my voice. Part 4, The Basement. I avoided the basement for weeks. The door at the end of the kitchen hallway was always cold to the touch, no matter the temperature. Sometimes I found muddy footprints leading to it, too many toes, pressed too deep. One night, the whispering got louder. Daniel, come down, we're lonely. Against my better judgment, I opened the door. The stairs descended farther than they should have. The light switch at the top didn't work. My phone flashlight barely cut through the darkness. The basement wasn't a basement. It was a room. A massive, circular space with walls made of layered wood, like tree rings. Names were carved into every surface, hundreds of them, overlapping, scratched deep. I found my father's name. I don't remember screaming, but my throat was raw when I ran upstairs. That night, the house whispered in my father's voice. "I'm proud of you, son." I cried until morning. Part 5, Occupants. I wasn't alone. I started seeing them in reflections. In dark windows. Standing at the far end of hallways when I turned off the lights. They weren't ghosts. They were imprints. People shaped by the house, worn thin and folded into its corners. Some were missing pieces, faces smoothed away, limbs bent wrong. Others looked almost normal, until you noticed their eyes were hollowed out, like knots in wood. They watched me with something like hunger. Mary Ann came by one afternoon, unannounced. "You're settling in nicely," she said, stepping over a floorboard that hadn't been broken the day before. "What is this place?" I demanded. She sighed. "It's a listener. It remembers people. Some houses keep warmth. Some keep echoes. And you sell it." "I feed it," she corrected. "Better than letting it starve." Before I could respond, the house shifted. The walls groaned. Mary Ann stiffened. "It's getting attached," she said. "That's faster than usual." "What happens now?" She met my eyes. "You decide whether you leave something behind." Part 6, The Choice. I tried to leave that night. My car wouldn't start. My phone showed no signal, no matter where I stood. When I packed a bag, the zipper fused shut. When I opened the front door, the porch was gone, replaced by a solid wall of wood. The house spoke, louder than ever. "Stay." Memories flooded me, not mine. Weddings, funerals, first nights, last breaths, all of them soaked into the walls, begging not to be forgotten. The house didn't want my body. It wanted my weight, my presence, my voice, my grief. I realized then, every name in the basement belonged to someone who had given the house a piece of themselves. Enough to keep it alive. Enough to keep it growing. I could leave, but I'd have to give it something it could keep. Part 7, What I Left Behind. I carved my name into the basement wall. But I didn't stop there. I carved my father's voicemail, every word I remembered, into the wood, pressing until my fingers bled. I spoke his name aloud, over and over, letting the house drink it in. The walls shuddered. The whispering softened. When I went upstairs, the front door opened. The porch was back. Mary Ann was gone. I drove away at dawn. Epilogue. New listing. I don't remember my father's voice anymore. I know he loved me. I know he said something important. But the sound of it, the way he said my name, is gone. Sometimes, when I'm half asleep, I hear it anyway. Coming from inside the walls. I checked a real estate site last week. There's a new listing on Briar Hollow Road. Beautiful house. Recently renovated.